I'm here in Mulholland Drive with Emilio Roso. Hi, Emilio.
Hi.
Emilio is shooting a trailer from his new film about the Israeli mafia in the 80s after shooting a very nice movie, a documentary movie about the Israeli mafia in the 80s. Hi, Emilio, again.
Nice. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Thank you for coming.
No problem. I'm climbing up the mountains, coming to this house, and I see a set with Emilio doing everything, doing even the lighting, directing. You always do everything?
Well, you know my background. I just I study acting in New York, and I study some directing in NYU. That's where I got my education.
No, we'll get to your background afterwards. But I want to ask you: you always like to take control of everything?
Well, that's a general question. I'm writing. I'm actually writing on those scripts. You know, those are my stories. So I have my vision. So I see my vision, and I know exactly what I want, and I got to take control and shoot it the way I was imagining and put it on the screen.
Yeah, but I would imagine that it's really hard to do everything, to direct. You're the producer. You I don't know if you took a role in this. You took a role in this film.
Yeah.
You want to act in that too?
I'm actually playing Manuel, which is the main guy, who's basically saved his kid because he has a terminal cancer. So what's going to happen? You take a mission to go and save his life. So you save his life and give another life. And we're going to shoot in Los Angeles. I'm shooting in Mexico, and we're shooting in some of them in New York.
You have a name for the film already?
Yeah, it's called Remission.
Remission.
Yes.
But the name of the documentary about the Israeli mafia wasn't Remission. It was
No.
another name.
It's called Last Man Standing.
Last Man
And
Standing.
we just finished a documentary, and we opened the documentary in New York. We have a red carpet event. And the Dead Sea film, that's the feature, what we did about the Israeli mafia. The movie came to me about 3 years ago. I was in Vegas with a friend of mine, and he's also a filmmaker. And we started talking about this group called the Israeli Mafia.
Israeli mafia.
And I couldn't
By
believe
the way,
it.
it was a famous group that was a lot of everybody was talking about it in the news in Israel and here about this mafia group on the 80s. I was a small kid, but I remember that.
Well, when you say mafia, the Israeli mafia, it's funny because nobody heard that. I just did a screening in Chicago, and they watched it, and it was fascinating to know that there was Israeli mafia.
Yeah.
I mean, this group did what nobody done in 4 years. And when I say the Israeli mafia, it's basically the FBI, mentioned them, the Israeli mafia. It's a very interesting film because it's not just about the Israeli mafia. It's the I'm gonna give him a name, Roman Gonen, which is the informant, and
That's the Russian type we saw in the documentary. Roman Gonen.
Roman Gonen was ex-Israeli, he's an immigrant from Russia when he was like 6 years old. Eitan Chia immigrant from Iraq. And that's when the criminal career started. And if you look at the movies, basically talk about the background where they came from or the where they grew up. Because 1948, I mean, the establishment of Israel is, it's very poor. Immigrants come after they came from Poland, Romania, Iraq, Iran. It was a little bit of discrimination, if you're Moroccan or if you I'm going to call it a Sephardic Jew and Ashkenazic Jew, so the audience understand. So it was discrimination, and that we see in the documentary where they send them in the first place. So my documentary is basically talk about the way they raised and grew up, where they grew up, how they end up in jail, how they moved to America, and the criminal career that happens in New York.
So you basically want to show that they became criminals because there wasn't any absorption or immigration to these people in Israel?
Well, that's a matter of again, when I give my perspective, is basically based on what I used to know back in the days. And yes, of course, there exists discrimination between, I got a dark-skinned man to a white-skinned man. It's funny because you think it's happened in America, and it did happen as in Israel.
Okay, let's go to the movie itself. You shot a trailer today. You're shooting a trailer today.
Well, that's not a trailer. That's the opening.
The opening scene.
It's the opening scene of my movie. So what's going to happen? It's I'm very inspired by French cinema and Italian cinema.
Alain Delon.
Alain Delon, yeah. All these great actors.
Yeah.
Omar Sharif. Actually, I'm shooting a movie with Omar Sharif.
Ah, with Omar Sharif.
Yeah, called Untold. It's a love
He's
story.
still, how old is he? By the way?
He's not that old. He's
He's not
young.
old. He's
78.
still kicking.
Right? 78.
Wow, that's great.
But on my production company, as independent filmmakers, I'm working with the great talents who's working with me, and we're making films that we love and we want to do.
That's great, because I see that you do everything. What I wanted to ask you is, you do the first scene and then you try to show it to people to invest money in it, or you're already doing it on stages? I want to learn about your way of working.
Well, that's kind of complicated questions. As independent filmmaker, I'll go and shoot the movie. I'll raise some money and shoot the movie.
Okay.
Now you have to understand, it's not the studio who has like
Yes,
trucks and lights and tons of people and union and millions of millions. This is a group with a lot of passions who wants to create films. As independently company, we go out there and we have created great movies. I have my assistants and my I have a right-hand man, I have a Herel, Cameron, I have Ben, I have all this crew who supports me, and together, we're doing it as a group.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm lucky, I'm very blessed to have these guys who is here with me on the set, who's working with me.
Let's go back to the film itself, to the documentary. You interviewed Eitan Chaya in Israel. You met him in Israel after he got released from jail. How did you get to him? I guess he doesn't talk to every person.
How did I get him? Listen, it's not that, he's a very simple person, We have to understand the crime he did, it's the past. And my movie focused only about the past. So when I got to Eitan Chaya, it's the media, create a monster, which is not, which is not true. Man, he's a very nice guy.
Well, the media tend to create monsters and to do news.
Absolutely.
And noise.
So I met Eitan, and he was, I actually stayed with him for 1 month, and he treated me like, he gave me a great hospitality. So I can give you 2 thumbs up about Eitan Chaya, And say the thing about Roman, they're 2 great guys. And remember, my perspective as a filmmaker.
So they agreed to your perspective to do a film about them. They didn't care.
Well, I'm sure they care. They just, they tell a story that happens to them in the past, and
They haven't seen the film yet.
They will see it.
They will see it.
Did you like it?
Very much. I like the issue and I like the film. Okay, Emilio, we really wish you luck with your way and with the film, and it's a great idea, and good luck. Maybe you'll be one day one of the big studios here.
Thank you so much, Dan, and I hope you stay here for lunch, okay?
Thank you very much.